And right now we are being joined by a correspondent who is in Gangtok at the moment, Sujal. So we'll connect with him and also try and get a little details as to the current situation of that avalanche tragedy, and also what the government is doing, and also what is the general perception, and whether this freakish weather that the Northeast is experiencing is a normal phenomenon or whether it is an out of the blue phenomenon. So first of all, thank you, Sujal, for joining us at Hornbill TV and giving us your time. So before we actually get into the gist, the main point of the discussion, could you please give us a little details as to the events of yesterday and what the current status update is for now? Has the search operations been over, and what is the government officials saying about those that were missing when the avalanche happened?
Thank you very much. And first of all, let me begin with the entire story. This is March-April season, and this is the peak tourist season in the Sikkim state. Lots of domestic tourists as well as international tourists visit at this point of particular year in the Gangtok, because in Gangtok and North and East Sikkim, just to see the snowfall. So this is we can say the USP of the Sikkim is that the snowfall, lots of tourists came. So in the same way, on the way to Nathula, in Nathula is Indo-China border, and similarly Thongul is also there. So on a day-to-day basis at present, Sikkim government, as per the checkpost permits, receiving more than 500 vehicles to these areas like Nathula and Thongul in a day-to-day basis. So the Sikkim is a small state, and even the Thongul Valley and the whole entire JM Road is a very small state in mountainous region. In this context, the tourists actually went to that steep mountain and started taking photographs and playing in the snows. At this juncture, the incident, the avalanche, actually this avalanche is also not called, but still people are calling it the avalanche. So at this point, this incident took place, and it has already taken a life of 7.
Yes. So, all right, Sujal, out of the 7, were there any local people that also succumbed in the avalanche tragedy, or how many people are there from India, and are there any foreign tourists also who are injured or are victims of this avalanche?
No. I must say there is no casualty of any local people, because why there is no local people casualty? Because on the way to Thongul Lake, they stopped the car, the taxi. There is only one local people, because the cab driver is only local person. The cab tourist was ferrying tourists to the upper reaches of Thongul Lake to visit their place. So on the way, driver actually parked the car and led the tourists to go to the particular area, exactly where the avalanche came. So tourists only came there to enjoy with the snow and to take photographs. In that process, that's why all the tourists get swept away by the avalanche. So this is the context, I must say, and no any foreign nationals are also doing. In fact, I must say that only three tourists from Nepal. Since Nepal is very close to the Sikkim state, so that's why 3 foreign nationals from Nepal has been reported casualty.
All right, Sujal, now coming back into the government stance of reacting to this tragedy, according to you, how was the response of the Sikkim government, and also what is the current status of operations as of now, and what is the government planning to do for all those injured and all the deceased? So are there formalities being taken up by the state government to transport the deceased bodies to those respective houses? So are these things happening at the moment?
Yes, immediately the news of avalanche hits the tourist and in the JN Road area, which is very sensitive area, so Indo-China border, near to Indo-China border also. At this point, so PM Narendra Modi also tweeted, and even other ministers also tweeted, and Chief Minister who was in the Gujarat tour, listened and immediately came back and visited the hospital where the injured person was kept. So at that point also the injured person they were given the assurance that they will be treated well by the state government, and even the ex-gracias, whoever will get the ex-gracias for the government, they will be provided. And as far as the mortal remains of the victims, that will also be sent to their respective districts and homes by the state government. That was promised by the Chief Minister also, and as for through district collectorate, it has been done today, and few are to be done today.
All right, Sujal, now coming back to talking about the environment. So like it's the month of April, and normally for the northeast, the monsoons and especially the winters in Sikkim, they're pretty harsh, and you've got like huge amounts of snowfall, and during the monsoons it's full of landslides. So for an incident to be happening in the month of April, is this normal in Sikkim? Because like normally it's only after the monsoon seasons and the winter that normally most of the tourist locations are out of bounds for tourists because of the impending weather. But in April, to have an avalanche like this and also to have such a tragedy where 7 people succumbed, is this something normal, and or do you think that it is basically due to global warming that we are witnessing such dramatic climate changes?
Yes, I must say, I think I won't, because I won't be able to. I don't want to call it a global warming.
Right.
But yes, there are changes. Avalanche was never witnessed.
Yes.
Even I was born and brought up in Bangkok. I've never seen avalanche in these streets.
Yes.
In the streets, it's just very few to our place. Also, I've never seen avalanche in this. I've seen avalanches in high mountainous areas in North Sikkim.
Yes.
During the army personnel were died. That is very 2-3 years back. But this kind of avalanche never happened. So there are questions that is it a man-made or natural avalanche? This is also a question which is surrounding in social media.
Yes.
Even though the government is saying that it's a natural calamity, but due to heavy blockage of snowfall, the road cutters was got down. So it may have some impact also. But yeah, debate is there. This is a rain. Sikkim also received heavy rainfall in this last duration. I must say, as for the IMD, Indian Meteorological Department, Sikkim has experienced the highest number of rainfall in last 1 month, which is not normal at all.
Yes.
Because this is the time of, this is the perfect time for spring, but still Sikkim is receiving rainfall. So this is not normal, and this avalanche is also not normal, which is not there before. And yes, climate is changing, and rainfall pattern has changed. And yes, the pattern of snowfall, hailstorm, and uncertainty is there in the weather. So this is also an area of concern, I must say.
All right, now Sujal, coming back to, I mean, like if you look at Sikkim and Nagaland, I mean, like one thing that binds us together is the society that is present in both our states. We are basically agrarian. We are an agrarian society where agriculture is our main means of living. So, I mean, like in Nagaland, because of this freakish weather, I mean, we have seen that in Nagaland, we've got a lot of farmers which is right now their jungle clearing season because of the rains they have not been able to do, and which is causing the wheat to grow very fast, and this is going to hamper their sowing season. So, even in Sikkim, you've got cardamom farmers, you've got ginger, you've got farmers that various crops. So, is there a hue and cry amongst the farmers due to the freakish weather that is actually going on, that is also taking place in Sikkim too?
Yes, I think this is a greater deep study. I cannot say easily because it's area.
Yes.
But in Sikkim, at present, witnessing the season of maize. Okay,
Yes.
maize, corn. I must say the corn. But due to rainfall, the maize is not growing in that way that used to earlier in the normal times. Okay, that's the maize. The corn is a major problem. That few media reports are there that due to heavy rainfall there is a disturbance. There are some cases, incidents that their corn plants are not growing as used to in the past. So
Yes.
these are the reports, and similarly, this is a greater study. And the cardamom also, heavy rainfall will automatically lead to a decline of the production. So this is the area of study for the need to scope.
All right, thank you so much, Sujal, for joining us on this Hours Bulletin and give us an update as to what the recent situation is, and also giving us further updates as to how the weather actually is hampering the basic environment of Sikkim. Thank you so much. Well, that was our reporter correspondent from Gangtok, Sujal, and well, he just informed us that it's kind of unusual for that particular stretch to be witnessing an avalanche, as he just put it himself. He's been living in that place for basically his whole lifetime, and he's never experienced. So it's kind of unfortunate that that incident had to happen, and it's kind of unfortunate that 7 people had to lose their lives. Well, apart from that, the government of Sikkim had acted actively as soon as they heard the news of the avalanche, and we just heard from our correspondent Sujal that the Chief Minister of Sikkim, Prem Kumar Tamang, as soon as he heard the news of the tragedy, he had gone to meet the victims at the hospital, and he's also given assurance that all the victims in this tragedy will be treated free of cost by the state government of Sikkim, and also all formalities and legal formalities are being taken up to arrange the transportation of those deceased bodies. Well, we also got to know through our correspondent that there were 3 Nepali tourists or foreign tourists that were also present, but no one succumbed to their injuries. And we also heard from the medical superintendent, Mr. Sharma, that most of the injuries are not life threatening, and that Sikkim has got the facility, they have got super specialists that can treat those injuries in the state itself, but because their family wants them to relocate next to their houses, those formalities are also being taken up. Well, it's also alarming to see how if it could be called climate change, how it's affecting the daily life of the farmers too. Well, the northeast is filled with farmers, and with such freakish weather, it is kind of spoiling the regime, or it's spoiling the routine as to the sowing and the planting and the cleaning. So this is also another alarming factor that eventually we ourselves as northeastern people and farmers, we should tackle it ourselves.